Honda wanted to capture everything great about summer in one word: Summerbration, as in the Honda Summerbration sales event. Now throw in some meat and fire, and you have a Barbabration. Hurry in and get a 2017 HRV for 0.9% APR from KBB.com's best value brand at your Honda dealer.
Visit your Metro Milwaukee Honda dealer today during the Honda Summerbration sales event.
Based on 2017 Brand Image Awards from Kelley Blue Book, visit KBB.com for information. APR financing offers available for well-qualified buyers. See dealer for financing details.
Blog Talk Radio.
Hi, kids. It's Wednesday. I almost said Thursday, and I bet you people have thought that I forgot about the show because I didn't automatically, instantaneously click on. Sorry about that. I was actually running through my house, putting truffles in my refrigerator, and sweating my ass off in my kitchen, to be perfectly honest. And I'm so nervous about these two because I got both musicians of this group today. Not one, but both. Whole lot of pressure. I have a little bit of wine here, so I think that'll help. Without further ado, because they've been waiting a whole of 2-3 minutes, let's get them both on the line, Mark and Andrea, and get going on this wonderful interview. Hi, do I have both of you?
Yes.
Hi.
Hi. How are you doing?
Did you hear that lovely intro that I was just talking about?
Awesome. It was awesome.
Do you like that? That's how we roll on this show. I'm like the most professional / smartass, sarcastic host you're ever going to find. So we'll have lots of fun. And yes,
That's
drinking
awesome.
is allowed because it's after 6. Well, it's actually 7 by you because I love my New York. So, hi, I'm nervous. You're both here. I'm kind of freaked out. A little freaked out.
You do not have to be nervous.
Yes, I do.
We're nervous.
Yeah. Hello. Have you watched you? Have you looked at you? Then you know why I'm nervous. Okay, I've seen you perform. I've heard your music. I did your research, and I've creeped on your Facebook. So I know. There's lots to talk about. Yay! Okay, so we're going to start.
We're honored to be on your show.
Oh, my God. Are you kidding me? Let me just do the backstory, kids, to the people that are listening in. I've had to try to have these guys on my show probably 3 different times on 3 different occasions, and they've been so very patient and so very cooperative, and I appreciate it so very much. And right off the top, do not want to forget about thanking City Bird Publicity because I would never even know about you folks if it wasn't for them. Kudos to them. Excellent clients.
Oh, my God. Melissa's amazing.
Love Melissa.
She actually used to, we knew her when she had a record label, and we used to be on her record, Sizzle Teen Records. And, you know, it's so difficult, like independent radio, independent anything, but independent record labels are really hard, especially if you're like one person, even if you're a super person like Melissa, because the industry is so screwed. But she took all her knowledge and then put it into City Bird Publicity, and that's taken off, and she's amazing.
She's amazing.
She's amazing then too. Like she got her like video on MTV too, you know, which was
my God.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
awesome.
like, no one else could, like, only person could do it would be Melissa.
Yeah.
Yes. And I have to say kudos. She absolutely rocks. And like I said, I'm always trying to be very appreciative of my guests because I know it's really hard and I had this really long hiatus and I'm so excited to be back on radio. So this is totally awesome that you guys are on. It's awesome that you're in New York City, folks, because I live in New York City half-time or as much as I can right now till I move there eventually. Then I get to go watch some folk rock music from YouTube folks anytime I want, but 8 years from now. So it's going to be 8 years. You have to keep playing for 9 or 10 or
it's never
50.
going to be a problem. We're going to always play.
We're never going to stop.
I mean,
We're going to be 80 and we're still be writing songs.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so that's all I needed to hear. I mean, I'll go down to the corner pub. I'll have my little wine jug with me, and I'll be like, I remember when I interviewed them when I had teeth and I could talk and I wasn't drinking as much wine. Just kidding. Okay, but on a serious.
We're gonna
no kidding, right? That's exactly right. See, we're all nice and relaxed a little. Well, one of us is relaxed. Well, 2 of you are relaxed. I'm not yet. But we're going to talk about important things, and that'll relax me. So I want to start off. Here's how we'll kind of course the interview. I want to talk to both of you about the group collectively. Then we'll kind of split you off separately, and then I can tell you all the things I found out about you. Ha-ha. But first of all, I want to talk about the name of the band. I know the significance to why you gave your band name what it is, and I, of course, am Scottish, so I thought that was totally cool. So one of you can decide to tell the audience why, and I don't want to mispronounce it, which is why I haven't said it yet either. Then tell us the significance behind picking that name. I think it's neat.
Okay, so it's the band. We pronounce it Makar, like Ma. You got the car.
Do.
Yeah, that's right.
Cool.
So,
okay.
Yeah, but I mean, the significance of it was we were trying to find a band name, when we first did this band in 2002 or 2001, and we weren't really coming up with stuff, and so I like to read the dictionary, so I was like kind of like.
Oh my God.
Then, right,
Well, she's a writer.
I'm a big dork too, but
I know we're getting there. Go ahead.
But
sorry.
The thing is it's one of the words I wrote down, and I'd be like, well, what about this? What about this? And I'm like, what about this, Mark? And Mark's like, that sounds good. I like the way it sounds.
And a lot of people think it's an anagram of my name, but it's not.
Okay.
Well, both of our names together.
Yeah, we just like the idea that it stands for poetry.
Okay.
And
nice.
because Andrea's a published poet.
But none of us are Scottish.
None of us are Scottish.
No, nobody in the band has been Scottish, but that may happen.
She's Welsh. She's got some Welsh.
I'm a quarter Welsh.
Oh, that's
Is that
cool.
Close? That's kind of close.
No, nice try, because I am Scottish, and all Scottish people are close to Irish, so we like to drink and we have foul mouths and we hang out with naughty people, if you really want to be honest, because that's how we roll. But I love it. Absolutely lovely name. Isn't that cool, folks? I think it's awesome. So I wanted to start out talking about that, so now I know I won't screw up in trying to pronounce it, I should say. Couple of cool things that I want to talk about that I found out about you. Number one, are you still on your quest to get to Austin, Texas? Because we should talk about that if you are, because we can get you lots of support. Because I know that you were trying to get to Austin, Texas, which I presume is to participate in contests,
we tried to do it
playing.
By Southwest, yeah. We tried to do it through a couple of different avenues, and one of them was Gigstown, but we didn't get picked through that. Gigstown was this new app like that, for paid gigs and stuff, and we haven't really used it to its full potential, but we did try to do that. We got interest, but we've gotten like nice.
The closest we got was, have you ever heard of Couch by Couch West?
No.
Okay.
Sorry.
It was this.
Now I feel like a dorko.
Yeah, it was a really interesting site where you basically perform from your couch, and it was broadcast during South by Southwest, and it was called Couch by Couch West, and it was really great. I mean, all these bands that didn't actually get to go, you could listen to, and that's kind of the closest we've got.
And they would play in their home, or maybe they'd play outside. It just couldn't be a paid gig anywhere.
We played in our kitchen.
We played in our kitchen.
Oh. Wow. I didn't get invited. Ouch. Wow.
Sorry. Well, we didn't have it this year.
This year they canceled it.
Because, again, it was an indie organization. I think they had been around 5 or 6 years. We'd only participated the last 3.
Gotcha.
It's done.
Okay. I gotcha. Okay. No, I understand. But some of us are kind of hurt that we weren't invited to the couch concert. I think some of my fans are going to be kind of hurt that none of us got to hear you play on the couch. It's okay.
It's on YouTube.
Yes. Okay. Awesome. Already notated on YouTube. Okay, number 2, kids. Now, I heard that there was talk that you were going to be going, and it is summertime technically, so am I premature in asking the question about you playing in Quebec, or have you done that already?
Well, again...
No, we're mainly focusing
on our album.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I found a notation or something.
No, we wanted to play there, but it was amazing. But again, it was an opportunity that this great DJ was trying to get us, and he had a little bit short. Okay, got it. Because the way that I read it, it almost seemed like, that's what I thought. It seemed like you were going to go do this in the summer, so I took it upon myself to assume, okay, boy, we shouldn't assume.
No, he wanted us to do it, but it never really materialized. And then we kind of just focused on our album. We're really happy that we've gone through about like 5 songs.
Yeah, got about 4 or 5 songs, and I mean the thing is too is like we're moving, so that might be like good that we didn't actually, because that would have been late July, and it would have been crazy. And we're hoping to do, and we're also hoping to do all this when we have the new album, Fancy Hercules. We only have like 4 of the songs so far. Yeah. And we had this whole other idea of how we were going to do this album. Now we're like, we got to put drums on it.
Yeah, we were going to do it acoustic, and now we have this great drummer that's going to play with us.
Oh, nice. Very, very nice. Awesome.
We're being a little
I apologize for that. That's okay. No, sometimes it never hurts to talk about those things, because I always think it's really neat, and I have a lot of fans and followers in Canada, too. So I'm like, oh, my God, if people knew you played in Canada, they'd be flocking all over like, oh, my God, Sydney knows these people. So it'd be great. But that's okay, because one day we'll get you there. We're going back there because we had a great time in Toronto, and we definitely want to go to Quebec. I mean,
Canadian independent radio is amazing. They play.
Yes, CIUT played us a couple summers ago, and we went for an interview, and we just loved it. It's just an amazing place.
Oh, I imagine, definitely. I haven't gotten there yet because I'm busy and I can't get a passport, and that's probably a good thing because they're probably wondering if I'd be wanting. I have a lot of friends that are musicians there, actually, and so it's a really cool place to open jam, I've heard. A lot of acoustical musicians. It's really a neat place, so I can't wait to get there. So we'll have to get to there. That's awesome. Okay, the other thing I was curious about is I saw, and let me just tell you right now, out of all the bands I've interviewed, I'm telling you, outside of, like, let's say, The Who or Pink Floyd or things like that, you guys are like doing interviews every 2 days. I'm like, every time I turn around and I look on your show page or your Facebook page, dude, they're doing another interview. I'm like, did they run out of stuff to talk about? Because seriously, I'm like, I was worried, oh my God, they're going to be like thinking I'm going to ask them all the same questions. You guys do like maniac amounts of interviews. Don't you ever get tired of like doing interviews?
No.
I know it sounds stupid, but like, do you know what I'm saying? No, you're like, oh my God. Now it's like, okay, and what are they going to ask me? Because it's amazing to me the number of interviews that you've done. And ironically, I'm curious about this. I've been wanting to do Skype interviews, not because, well, right now, I mean, I could be in my pajamas and no one would know. But I think it's kind of cool to be able to Skype an interview where they can see you and they can see me. And I haven't had the capability to do that yet. So how do they pull out? Do you know how they pulled that off? Because you did a Skype interview, right, with an interviewer or a journalist?
Yes, we did, but he didn't. He actually just recorded it. But I made sure I was looking and
right,
but
right.
That was in England, or
that was Enfield Music. That was Mark O'Reilly from the UK. From
I gotcha.
And it was a great interview. He actually just recorded it. But it's funny, Wanty, we had never done Skype before.
We never Skyped anyone.
Really?
Yeah,
oh my God.
Create an account and all that stuff. There's so much internet. I'm like, I can't take it anymore.
I know, right? It's kind of amazing.
Easy.
Well, and I think a lot of times too, like for instance, like I'm going to be interviewing. Well, I don't know if you noticed this or not, but when I put your tagline out there when I was talking about doing the interview tonight, everybody that comes on my show is a celebrity. Doesn't matter if you're on TV. It doesn't matter if you're, infamous, whatever. Because if you entertain or inspire or motivate or create, I think you're a celebrity. So you get celebrity status on my show. So sometimes, like the real celebrities, they call them, like I'm interviewing George Christie. Have you heard of him? The guy from the History Channel, the outlaw, the Hell's Angel?
Oh, yeah, I've heard of him. I haven't seen.
But
no, I gotcha. And I'm just right. And I researched him, and I was like, oh my God, people would love to see him. Like now that would be like the typical Skype interview because people like want to look at him. They want to see like how his facial expressions are, all this. And I'm thinking to myself, who the hell wants to look at me? My ass is 10 pounds fatter. I'm trying to lose weight. I just had these extractions on my mouth, and I'm like, oh my God, could you imagine a Skype interview right now? It'd be a little crazy, wouldn't it? Well, maybe another time.
Always look heavier, and you have to angle. That's why people take selfies in ways like the distort. I'm like, I don't know,
Yeah, I think we prefer audio because then you have to worry about all that.
Right.
I mean, it's the content, but I mean, are you going to do it, or what do you think?
You should do it.
I think I want to do it, but here's the problem. Like Blog Talk Radio is the format we're on right now, and I'm converting over to another thing. Like it's relatively close to Sirius Radio, but there aren't a lot of options for doing video and audio at the same time. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll do a live interview, and we have talked about that. Like me going out to California, he has a book signing, and where I just meet him somewhere in public, and then I get a camera crew. It's a lot of work, and I've done it. But I wouldn't mind the Skype thing, because I want people to see the guests that come on in general. I don't want it necessarily on me because I'm very self-conscious. But I think it would be great for people to see you laugh, to see your reactions to things. I think it'd be kind of cool. Not that this isn't cool, but
and I know Facebook has a whole streaming thing too, a streaming video thing.
They do.
Yeah, and I haven't done that yet either. But I know Melissa from Citybird is going to try and do that with they're going to do Citybird live sessions. We're going to do one in October. I'm not sure what date, but like where we're playing.
That would be cool.
So I mean, I think
that would be awesome.
Facebook live streaming is also a good option as well.
And as we know, video killed the radio star.
Yeah, video.
Yeah, yes, it did, as a matter of fact, as I recall. But thank you so much for those. lovely tips. And unfortunately, we can't Skype today, but this just gives you an excuse to come back to my show if you actually like it. And then we could just like Skype and do all this really cool stuff. And I'd be like, yeah, awesome. Because I like repeat offenders.
Yeah, anytime.
As you know, we like interviewing.
We don't mind because then we can kind of like revive, like, oh, I could have had a better answer for that. And then then we can fight it.
Right, and like rethink it. And then I could go through my questions 100 more times and be like, oh my God, did I just say that right now? Or was I actually drinking wine when that happened? Just kidding. I've only had like 3 glasses. No, I know what I'm talking about. Okay, we're going to start with Mark. Mark's an interesting character. Let me tell you why. It is so hard for a journalist, and let me tell you something. I creeped on you quite a bit. I mean, I have dug, and I have dug, and I have dug, and it sucks when you can only come up with so much information. I'm like, this has to be the world's most secretive guy in the whole wide world. But I do know a few things about you.
My past is in the past. No one will ever discover it.
Yes. So first of all, here's what we're going to do, because we're all about this on my show, because I'm currently, shocker, single, and you're not. Obviously, as I mentioned, you are married not only to music but each other. Been married since 2000, so that's 16 years according to my count. 2 questions I got for you, Mark. First of all, because we're about romance on this show, because I have none, we're going to put you on the spot. We're going to say, oh, how did you meet that lovely bride? And then tell me what it's like, one good thing and one maybe a little difficult thing about working with your life partner.
Ooh.
I know, right?
Thank you.
I know. Here it comes, camera rolling in.
We met at work.
Okay.
So that wasn't that exciting, but it was at the College Board, and there were a lot of artists, a lot of young people, and I remember the office manager bringing her by and introducing her to everyone, and my first reaction, at least internally, was, who is that girl? And I just, it wasn't necessarily romantic. There was just something very special about her. And we didn't actually realize until we were at a bar. We were at an Irish bar, hanging out, and the bartender was like, "You two are in love with each other." And we literally we were like best friends for like the whole time, but we never thought of it romantically. And he was like, "No, you guys are in love." And from that moment on, I think we just realized it. And it sounds kind of stupid, but I mean, I just think we were just such good friends that we just didn't even think about it.
Sure.
So that's kind of how it all started. And then as far as like a great thing of working with her, I mean, I had no idea she was even a musician. She was a writer, and she wrote poetry and short stories, and she's working on her first novel. And I was working on The Monkey, which is a song that we wrote for I Hate My Job, was our 99 Cent Dreams, which is our first album. And she just came over and started singing. And she hadn't picked up a guitar since she was 12. She wasn't really a singer, but she sounded great. And I was like, do that again. And she sang over this instrumental part, and she came up with this great part, "You Are Alone, You Can't Go Home." And that was kind of the start of our musical collaboration. So it was out of the blue. None of this was like expected at all. In fact, when we got married, we'd never played together. So I married my son.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so it was just out of the blue. And then, I don't know, as far as a difficult thing.
Because a lot of times I'll hear people tell me sometimes, like, you'll get, we have somebody in town here that are local musicians, they're engaged. And I said to Charles, I'm like, I know that you love her to death, and it's not a question of that, but you know how it is when you live together, then you work together. That's a lot of together, you know what I mean? So sometimes at some point you're like, okay, this doesn't really bug me, but, so that's kind of what I'm asking you, like, if there's one thing, it's a little challenging about working together, what might that be? Just wondering.
All right, well, I don't want to sleep on the couch tonight, so I'm going to be...
I'm not trying to get you in trouble.
This answer.
I know what it is.
I think what it is, I think, to be honest, I think I'm the problem because I have... I do. I think that, Andrea has this nickname for me, and she calls me the Maestro. And I think that, at least in the past, I would be very... I guess, exacting of myself and of the members in my band, and I would expect the absolute, 110%, 1,000% from them. So, because that's what I expected for myself, and I guess I can get a little carried away with that. I think as I've matured, that has become less of an issue. And I sat there and I go, this is your wife. Like, this isn't just a band member. This is your wife. Like, you can't get angry at her. You can't talk to her a certain way. Like, you love this woman, and yet you're getting really upset about something that is really not that big a deal. So I've come a long way, I think, in that respect. But I think if there was a problem, it was me.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah.
Nicely done. And he did that in such a way where I'm so thinking he's not going to be in trouble. And that was important because I didn't really think of that.
We joke about this stuff anyway.
I like sleeping in the bed.
Okay, and that's probably an important thing after 16 years of marriage, so they tell me, as far as that goes. Now, before I ask the next Mark question, I have to ask you this question because lately, since I've come back on air, every guest gets targeted with this question. And I know it's going to be you two. They're going to pull it in, and you're going to give me the right answer, right? Just say yes. Just say right now, yes, Cindy, we have what you need. That's all I need to hear. And then I'll ask the question, even though I'm thinking you might not. Okay. So I'm on this quest. You know Wendy Williams, she has a talk show, right?
Yeah.
Well, yes. Wendy Williams, you know how she talks and she's like, okay, we're best friends in my head? Okay, so I have sort of a thing like that. I have that sort of relationship in my head going on, only it's more like I adore you, I would follow you anywhere, ride a motorcycle with you, get a tattoo with you, read poetry with you, and hang out with you forever with actor Michael Madsen. And I've only been trying for a year to get an interview. So I know that Mark and Andrew are going to be like, yeah, he was our best friend, and we'll get you hooked up for an interview, right?
Well, no, we don't know. Wait.
Ouch.
Wait,
that was just a fall.
Sorry.
Do you know who? No, that's okay. You know who I'm talking about, right?
Didn't hear who you're saying.
No, that's okay. The actor, the person that I'm saying is my best friend in my head, mind you, because I've never met him. You've heard of the actor Michael Madsen?
Yeah.
You know Michael Madsen, Free Willy, etc. See, so I've been hitting every guest up. I've been trying for a solid year. That's 12 months, kids, to get an interview with him. And so I keep thinking every time I get a new guest on, I'm going to be like, they're best friends with Michael Madsen, too, so they're going to get me the interview. So I was thinking today, they're in New York City. They got to know him, right?
That's right. We're getting it.
Really?
Really?
I used to date a girl who was the daughter of a Hollywood director.
We can try, yeah.
So I can try. I can see if
my God,
they know
funny.
I can guarantee
well,
he knows him. I don't know if I really have that connection anymore, but I could try.
No,
For you, I'd do
no.
it.
Oh, you're so sweet. I keep asking everybody because I'm like, this kind of shows, and I'm sure you know this because you're in the entertainment business yourself in terms of entertaining people. We all kind of idolize and look up to certain people and all this jazz and stuff, and I adore him. Now, because I interview people and I'm in media now, I know I could probably ask someone and they could probably help me, but I'm ridiculously stubborn. I'm like, it's been 12 months, and I just keep trying to do, you know how it is when you get to that point where you're like, I just want to do it on my own. You know what I mean? I could probably ask this person, but I really want it on my own. You know what I mean?
All you probably have to do is just call up his manager or his publicist, and he would probably be more than happy to do it.
Yeah, well, guess again, kids. Then they're done that 3 times. I mean, I've done that 3 times. I've tried to go to 3 events. I mean, I've even gone around them to other people, and now I got a new theory. And you guys are so you have to promise if I tell you this, you're not going to laugh. But I actually have written 4 movies. I'm contemplating starting a 5th and writing a part just for him so he could play Vincent Van Gogh. Do you think that would get me in? I think it might.
That's
either that, or they'll arrest me, for being a stalker.
Because
or
the thing is, honestly, I mean, they the 2 comedians who wrote Keanu, they wrote Keanu's girlfriend got him to take the voice of the cat, the little kitten. You know what I mean? Because and the same thing with Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle. The people who wrote that script wrote Doogie Howser. I forgot what that actor in there.
They wanted Doogie Howser in there.
Yeah, and they had no idea if Neil Patrick Harris would ever do it, right? But they wrote it, and he did. You never know.
You never know.
Jake Gyllenhaal. How do you say his name?
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Jake Gyllenhaal. Right. Yeah, I know. Okay.
All right. Well, he was on the Actor Studio, and he said to all these college kids saying, and if there's a part that you would consider me for, let me, definitely send it my way.
Yeah.
Because there are people who are very open. It doesn't mean it doesn't mean that you cannot get access to those people. I mean, I found
But if we ever have any connection,
yeah, I mean, you
totally.
could ask.
And I'm totally all about that. And that actually leads right into my next question. So it's good that we actually got to this point. Because here's my question to you. Because you're in New York City, and I always like to get other people's viewpoint on this, and you're working active musicians. So it brings up a point. Like, for instance, how we're talking back and forth. Connecting, networking is very important. I'm always the first one to be like, if I can get you hooked up with someone, something, gig, whatever, I'm there. And not because there's a benefit to me, just truly because I believe in supporting the arts. But sometimes that's not always the case. So can you talk to us a little bit, and especially to my audience, those that are musicians or active in the community, how tough or challenging is it, let's say, because you're in New York City, huge arts community, huge. That means there are, and not to downplay you, but there are tons of musicians there of all different types. How difficult is it for you to stay working musicians and to get paid to play and to get set apart from the norm? Does that make sense?
It does. I mean, a lot of it, not to be too obvious, but a lot of it is personal hustle. And, the two of us are constantly working. We're constantly sending stuff out to radio. Now we have Melissa on her side. You have to build your team. We're doing a radio campaign this fall with Peter Hay. Do you know him? Peter Hay is from Twin Vision?
I don't think I do. No, I'm sorry.
He's been in the business like 30 years, and he's going to do a big campaign for us. So it's really just like, finding people on your team like Melissa, like Peter, sending stuff out. We were voted number 10 on Daily Magazine, as a list of best indie bands in the city.
Yeah, indie guitar.
Right.
And,
guitar.
and that largely was a result of just legwork, of just sending stuff out, of getting played.
Sure. Sure.
But a publicist we actually talked to an industry attorney. And
He gave us free consultation.
He said no band that he's ever worked with has ever made it without a publicist and money.
Wow.
and he said if you spend $30,000 and you get a publicist, you have a very good shot at breaking your record. And he said, he's been in the industry forever, and he said that's the secret. We're more of an indie operation. Like we're not, we're looking to really build it organically as much as possible. But we've come to a point now that we realize that there are certain doors you can't get through, and you'll never get through those doors without a publicist. And for instance, we got an interview in Paste magazine. And we got into BuzzFeed and got all this stuff, and there's no way we would have gotten into those places, Vigilantes Radio and all these different great places without Melissa. So
and you too. I mean, we
would have never met you, and so it's a point where I think as an indie,
right?
Yeah, and as a musician, you kind of do as much as you can, and then at some point you're going to need help, and you'll know when.
Sure. No, I totally get what you mean. And I always like to touch on that only because of the fact that I don't think people realize. I'm very big on, I don't understand why we can't all play nicely in the sandbox, as I call it, which is musician support musician or artist support other artists, et cetera. There's no need for all that competitive, constant drama and all that. Well, that's a whole other conversation. Definitely. Okay, so back to Mark again, because like I said, I tried to creep on you and I could hardly find anything about you whatsoever, except I know this much. Apparently Mark is somewhat of a fan of, I don't know, political videos and or videos in general, because if you go down to his Facebook and I'm not going to lie, I went 3 years back. That's how far back I went. 3 years. I'm like, I'm doing my work. I'm finding something, and they're all videos. And the fact that you're a Sagittarius. Okay?
I'm actually a Scorpio.
You're a Sagittarius. Well, according to the Zodiac on the internet, it says it's a November baby, and that makes it Sagittarius. So I got November right. Okay?
Right.
I did, right? Right?
November 19th. 19th.
Okay, see, so I got November. Okay. But he likes his political videos. I also have to say kudos on you because apparently you're a Dexter fan, which is way cool because I'm here to tell you, I'm going to try to get him to resurrect a Dexter fan movie, and then you guys can do the music for it. What do you think about that?
Oh, my God.
I think that's a really cool idea. Right? Right.
But tell me honestly. Yeah. I mean, as much of a fan as you are, and I am, what did you think of that ending?
I knew you were going to ask. Okay, you're going to hate me for this. Okay, I'm going to be really honest. My daughter's 21, and we love this show, and we used to watch it together. She used to look at me and say, Mom, there's a roll of plastic wrap in your future, and I kid you not, she's going to kill me that I said that on here. But it's true. So we would have this little banter thing, and it's kind of, I think it's I think it's kind of scary that we like a serial killer like this, but here's my thought on the ending. Let's get real. I think it's about as good as you're going to get for who he really is, meaning there's only two ways Dexter can go out. He's either going to get arrested, because he's only gotten so close to being busted 85 times, right? The other option is, well, you know what I'm saying. He's been like an inch close every time. And so the only other thing, and I do think he did right. I mean, he gave his sister the right goodbye, which I think was nice. I love that very last scene where he was just looking right into the camera like that. That drew me in. But I know that you're going to say it totally sucked, aren't you? And so I'm like, oh, it's so great.
Yeah.
You're totally going to say it sucked. Come on, Mark.
Just from a writer's perspective, okay? You've developed this amazing show, okay? And over all these seasons, we've watched this guy, right? And we've watched him kind of transforming from this, like, just total serial killer into someone who has a kid, a wife. He's starting to actually, I think, feel things. Like, he's actually starting to get normal. And then you're thinking, maybe there's hope for this guy. Maybe he could be normal again. And then you just wipe that away and you put him in a logging village and he's staring. I mean, this guy is living in Miami. Now he's living in a logging in the snow, staring out of a window in this small little house. It was like the most depressing ending, the biggest letdown ending I've ever seen.
I mean, but you know what, Cindy? About it, I was like, okay, I could kind of see your point of view about it.
Thank you.
I have to tell you where it lost me, though. It lost me with the whole...
And killing Deb. How could they kill Deb?
No, but the whole... The Deb killing bothered me, but what really bothered me is Deb thinking that she's in love with him, and that just was like,
oh, my God, right.
Yeah,
okay, I'm going to give you that. I'm going to
give you that. Derail me. I think maybe that didn't happen, and we had a better impression of the ending.
Right. No, I agree, as far as that goes. And you are right, Mark. From a writer's perspective, sometimes if I just look at something as the writer and not the fan, like I was so afraid to watch Mad Men, then I turned into Mad Men. Well, and then there's that John Hamm guy. Yeah. Okay, sorry. I had that little fantasy there for a minute. But no, I know what you're talking about in terms of there's a writer perspective versus a fan perspective, so I totally get that. But the other thing I noticed about you is that you're also a Game of Thrones fan. And so this is what I want to know, because I say this about The Walking Dead. What up with you people and this obsession with these shows like Game of Thrones, Walking Dead? I just turned it out, or like even that guy that makes the cocaine or the heroin in the RV or whatever. I can't even remember what it is.
Oh, Breaking Bad.
Right. I'm like, what is it with you people that you totally get into that? What's happening? I don't understand that whole fixation with these kinds of shows.
My parents, Mark, you should answer, but my parents, okay, so I gave my parents the first season of Breaking Bad on DVD.
Okay.
And they're like, for Christmas, other things too, and they're like, why did you give us this? This is horrible. But by like the third episode in, they were addicted.
Totally hooked.
They were totally hooked, and it is. I don't know. It's the writing of Breaking Bad is amazing. Like, but
it's the stories. You know what it is? These are violent shows, and
I don't like the violence.
We don't like the violence, and it's a testament to these shows because the stories are so strong. The characters, you get so wrapped up in these characters, and I mean, there's a Talking Dead after The Walking Dead, and there are episodes where you literally need the Talking Dead just to get you through what you just saw. I mean, like, a beloved character who's been killed. If you look at the Red Wedding in Thrones, I mean, these were like traumatizing events. I mean, these are fictional characters, but you get so attached to them, like their whole drama. I mean, incredible writing. And so I would say it's definitely the characters, the actors, and the writing. It's just incredible. TV is incredible today.
You bet.
But Walking Dead, I never thought I was going to be interested in that. But then we caught an episode that didn't have a lot of zombies in it, and it just had this kind of emotional kind of crescendo just in one episode that we had to watch, start watching the whole series.
It made us watch the whole series,
Sure.
So I don't know, how do you feel about those shows?
Well, to be honest with you, Game of Thrones I haven't checked out yet. I know my next door neighbor is a huge fan of it, so I'm like, here's the problem. When you do what I do for a living, now I've expanded out. Like since when we first started talking, now I'm doing, film festival judging, and I'm doing reviews, book reviews, film reviews. I've expanded out so much that it's more homework now. Do you know what I mean? It's rare that I get to watch anything that I like anymore just because Cindy likes it. But I'm not going to lie. Like I try to stay away from the more violent stuff. Sons of Anarchy is probably about as that or like American Horror Story is probably about as grotesque I'm going to get because I'm getting older. It's not fun anymore. You know what I mean? It's kind of like enough, you know, and I'm not a zombie fan. My kids are, you know, and that's all fine and good. But for me, it's kind of like, you know, if you came to my house and you spent the weekend, you'd see me watching stuff like, you know, the American Horror Story, or we would be watching, you know, obviously Sons isn't on anymore, but I like, CSIs, or I like a lot of the Netflix series because my friends are on them now. You know what I mean? Like the Get Down or the Let Down or something. Somebody just told me they were on Daredevil. You got another show that my friends on.
Oh yeah, Daredevil's great.
That's pretty violent
I think
too, Daredevil.
See, Walking Dead,
I know. See,
it's not the zombies. Like it's the fact that this group of people just is surviving together in this apocalypse.
Gotcha.
And they're like a family, right? And you get attached to this family. And that's what's pulling you in, not the zombies, not the gore, but the fact that these people are like living in this crazy world, and it's not actually the zombies that are the worst part of the world. It's the people. I mean, the people they deal with, who, you know, now that there's no laws and there's no police, that's what's really scary.
It's like you know, I remember in high school I read The Plague by Albert Camus, and it was about one of his bubonic plague. How are people? The circumstances happen. How are you going to react to them? How are you going to take responsibility for your own action? And so these kind of like horror movies and horror shows are like the extreme version of that. Like it's like a Stephen King thing where you had like that movie and the story that they wrote, The Mist. You know, so it's not so much about these creatures coming out of the mist. It's like, how does this town behave in the supermarket? You know, and who's going to transcend and who's going to turn out to be a complete and utter lunatic? You know, and then who's going to come out and just still, you know.
And also we learn, like, how would we survive? Like, basically, that's what it's all about. How would we survive in the apocalypse?
I don't know.
Oh my gosh, you guys are so funny.
We
had a radio show interview. By the way, we kind of veered off to Game of Thrones and or Walking Dead and or Dexter. Okay.
Oh, we can
I guess
talk
I should get off of that.
Forever.
I know we could talk like all night, except for the fact that, eventually I have to go to this lovely boat cruise that you guys didn't get my message for. I felt so bad because I sent you a message and I'm like, can we do this a little early because I'm going to a boat cruise? So now they're just going to have to wait for me because I'm on the phone with New York City musicians right now and I'm interviewing them. So they're just going to have to wait with that boat till 8 o'clock.
Yeah, whenever you have to go in summer, we understand.
They're waiting for me. The Milwaukee boat line ain't going anywhere for a couple hours, so we're good. So, Mark, now, I know that you were an attendant of Dartmouth. That's where you got your education. So I'm going to give you the next 2 minutes because I'm going to shut up if you can believe that or not. And you're going to talk to the listening audience because I couldn't find anything out about you, even though I'm a great journalist. There's just nothing to be found. So talk a little bit about your background in terms of how you got into playing, when you discovered what you wanted to play, and most importantly, how do you feel your playing excels playing with your wife versus playing with someone else?
Well, that's a big question. I think I realized I want to be a musician in the third grade. And I think like a lot of musicians, it kind of always starts with like a girl.
And
it wasn't me.
Unfortunately, it wasn't you, Andrew. No, but at the time, there was this girl, a friend of my sister's, and I remember just being in love with The Who and, you know, Who's Next, and just thinking that was the best album I'd ever heard. And I remember just the feeling of the way the album made me feel, and just thinking it was the coolest thing and wanting to share it with this girl and impress her or whatever. But I think that's when I realized, you know, the way that it made me feel that I wanted to be a musician. But I didn't actually decide to be a musician until college. And that was when I was like, I guess I listened to The Doors and Jim Morrison. And, you know, I'd always been like a huge Beatles fan and Who fan. But then I kind of went to Led Zeppelin and The Doors. And I was always like this whole 80s music scene. I mean, I love like Depeche Mode, New Order. You know, I live in New York, so in the 80s, it was probably the best time in New York to go to clubs, and the music was fantastic. You know, you had all these great bands. So it was such a different mix of classic rock and, you know, kind of like, you know, newer dance music. And, you know, then I guess in college I said to myself, you know, this is what you really, if you could do anything that you want to do, and money wasn't an issue, and status wasn't an issue, and your friends and your family. Like, what would I want to do? And the answer is music. That's the only other thing that even came close to that was maybe acting. And I've been scouted by an acting agent at a party that my ex-girlfriend was holding and stuff. And she's like, give me a call. I'd really like to see what you could do, maybe in TV and movies. And I just felt like, either one, this is like a casting couch kind of thing, like she's just hitting on me. But more than that, it just wasn't what I wanted to do. Music, right. The way music makes me feel, I think, is why I'm in it.
Okay. And I have a question for you. Have you done the alternative side, meaning that your wife has played your instrument and you've played hers? I was just curious.
What
have you played my instrument and I played
yours? No, I can't.
Like, have you done a switcheroo? Okay, that's what I thought, but I'm just checking.
He has tried to play the guitar, and he has this song that he has to preach. But
it's his three. I started with guitar. Like when I was 16, my parents gave me a guitar, and I used to sing in an all boys choir when I was in elementary school. And we used to, Lord and Taylor's, that store.
Oh yeah.
We used to perform there at Christmas and sing all the Christmas songs.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. That is cool.
Little ties, and I think the biggest experience I ever had that made me want to be a musician. I was in a production of The Music Man, and I was maybe 9 or 10, and we kind of marched down the aisle of this theater, and there were all these people watching because we were kind of fake playing our instruments. And I thought, this is the coolest thing I've ever done.
Seriously. That does sound totally cool. Well, and the thing is, you get to meet so many interesting people. That's the one thing, like acoustical musicians and other people say, it's like the people, the environment, it's just a neat experience. And that's one reason I interview a lot of musicians, because I'm not a musician. I'm a writer. And a professional writer gets to do lots of fun, cool things. But I can't sing, and even when I'm drunk, I can't sing, so don't make me do it. And, I can't play an instrument, so I'm like, this is so cool. Yeah, well, been there, done that. I even sang It's My Party and I'll Cry If I Want to. I was so drunk I couldn't even stand up, and I can't even imagine what those people were thinking besides get the hell off the stage. So I'm going to say about that.
We're going to have karaoke at one night.
Huh, funny. Huh, who's that Mark and Andrea? I don't know them. Don't know them. No idea. I have no clue. Moving along to Andrea. Okay, now we get to do quick pro quo. And I know a few things about this babe. So let me just start off. You recognize this quote. And why did I pick this one? Because out of all the ones on your page, love, 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 love. Can you imagine the zombie apocalypse beginning on St. Patrick's Day? Oh, my God. I totally laughed out loud when I read that, because I was like, first of all, zombies. Second of all, I'm so Scottish but not Irish, and all I think about on St. Patrick's Day is drinking, and I'm trying to picture a zombie.
You wouldn't be able to tell the difference. You wouldn't be able to tell the difference. Like, you'd be like, because you know what made me think about, too, is
you really got her going now.
Like, what is it, SantaCon? Same thing. Would you be able to tell if those people were infected? I don't know. I just like to throw these random questions out. Like, I haven't been on Facebook as much as I would like to be, recently, right. But as I just think of things, I'm like, well, what if this? And I like to post it to my friends on Facebook but that too, that's really how I think. I always end up coming up with crazy scenarios.
And I love that. No, and I totally love that, because I'm a writer myself, so I totally all day long, because I get, I kind of have to be on social media more. Right. You almost have to be on social media often enough to where people are paying attention. And I'm not going to lie to you, I'm already nuts to begin with. So I'm putting out stuff out there that make people laugh out loud. I love it when people say I totally laughed out loud, because it's so some of the stuff my brain goes to, it's like crazy. So I'm like, I totally get her with this whole zombie St. Patrick's thing. Second of all, so we got to talk on a very serious note about this, because if there's one thing I love to do, it's give people a very nice kick in the backside and say, love you, but let's talk about this. So this is my love you, but let's talk about the novel. Push. Apparently we got a novel going on. If there's one thing I know about, it's book writing. And I'm here to tell you, you're going to say, guess what, Cindy? It's done. Talk to me.
Well,
listen.
This is the thing. I thought it was done, all right? And then I sent it. No, I sent it 2013. I thought it was, I sent it out late 2013 to a bunch of places. I got some really great rejections. And I mean that in like people nice.
I got really great rejections.
It wasn't just a standard thing. It wasn't like I hate you.
Sure.
No, but it was like really nice, thoughtful rejections. Like, this is what we see is wrong. And all of them came back and said, you need developmental editing. And I'm like, what the hell is that? And I just, I was kind of, I was kind of at the end of my rope with how to do this, because Mark read it, other people read it. I was in a writing class, I was in a workshop. Some people read the whole thing through, not that many, but Mark and my friend Sylvia, and they were people were very helpful for the most part. But the thing is I really needed to go to a professional editor, because I couldn't really see what to do. And so I went and paid for a professional editor with New York Book Publishers, New York Book Editors, and that he was William I have pronunciation difficulties, Bogas, and he did, I paid for it. He did a great job. He gave me 17 pages of a memo and line edits. He's edited a lot of great novels and stuff, and it was so totally worth the money. But now the problem is my book, this was a year out, so that was 2015 that I went through the whole trying to get published, and then I was like, I don't know what to do. I've had half dozen people say you need developmental editing, so I need to do something about that. So then May 2015, he read the whole thing and finished it in 3 months with all the 17-page memo, and I talked to him about it in August of 2015. And so now I've been working on all those things he told me. I had to reorganize the whole thing because it was nonlinear, and he's like, you really got to, I think you need to do this in chunks. So I'm still working on it. I've gone through it a bunch of times, and I'm trying to reorganize it, and it's definitely making a lot more sense. And he cut about 100 pages,
It'll be done next spring.
It'll be done. Mark's like, it's going to be done next spring.
Right?
I don't know. The problem is, Cindy, is that
It's 500 pages.
Well, it used to be 1,200 pages, and now it's below 600.
Sure.
Yeah. So, but the problem is that I didn't really know what I was doing. I should have had an outline, but I'd like to say it wasn't that kind of book, but maybe I just don't have that kind of mind, which is organized. But
it's possible.
But it's been a really long, ridiculous process. It's not like I don't sit around and write. But you can tell I was kind of what is it, the Wonder Boys a little bit,
Gotcha. Sure.
But I think it's the light is at the end of the tunnel, and he's definitely he's definitely made a big difference. He really helped, and it was worth paying for an editor, because the problem.
He's done a lot of professional.
Yeah, but the problem is too is that they don't a lot. You've published books and everything, but a lot of literary fiction, they don't really have. Publishers expect you to come to them,
with a finished product.
With a totally finished product. Not that I didn't work my butt off on it, and other people didn't read it, and it wasn't polished.
But you were expecting them to polish.
I was expecting them to do the kind of feedback that William gave me.
Yeah.
And can they really spend 2 or 3 months? Yeah, they don't usually.
Right.
Especially independent, people. It's the light is in a tunnel. I'll definitely have it done. It's too
I'm
ongoing.
just checking, and I'll keep checking and keep asking and keep asking and keep asking and keep asking. Okay, there are more similarities to you and I than one might have guessed. For one, obviously, both of us have done some extensive book writing. Second of all, I noticed that you are not a fan of both Donald Trump and Mondays. And I totally love that, because I'm so not a fan of Mondays or any morning. I'm also not a Trump fan, obviously. I have to say that. I wish that I could say that I shared your passion for key lime pie, because I totally don't like that, but that's okay, because I saw you were on this cute little excursion for key lime pie, which I thought was so cool. But what I want to talk about...
like the excursion.
Oh, I bet, without a doubt. But I'm curious. I want to ask this question. I'm doing this whole calendar, and so I'm just wondering to myself today, I'm like, what up with that? She does photography, and she doesn't even offer to shoot my calendar in New York City of all these really cool film crew people and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I didn't even know she had this little photography hobby of hers.
Well,
what
it's a very minimal hobby because I really haven't, it's something that I really want to do more of. Sure. But I had this whole thing where I was going to try and take a picture a day, and that didn't really happen. I mean.
Oh no.
No. I would. I get upset because I'm like, I want to do more of that. It's just.
Sure.
It's so hard because.
Well, we've done all the artwork for the album.
Yeah. Well, we've both done all the artwork for the album, but I do want to do. I really appreciate you looking at this stuff. I mean, it's really. I'm really just. Yeah. No, but I mean, because it's something I really do want to do.
That's okay, because I'll just nag you now. I'm writing a list down right now. Nag her about novel, nag her about photography, don't nag her about this. But here's my real big question before I forget. Obviously, of course, I know that you've had some of your work, obviously, extensively, I might add, your poetry. Obviously, Umbrella Factory magazine, and, of course, I think I want to pronounce this right. It's Cordite Poetry Review. Now, my question is, if people want to get the most extensive, or I think we all believe as writers where some of our best work lies, if people want to check out your poetry, some of your best work, where would you advise them to go or to check out?
You could go to, I have a website.
Yes, I'm going to preface that, but I thought you might mention it.
Yeah, AndreaDeAngelis.com. But it's just, I have
name.
it's under like publication list and all like the poems. Most of the stuff you can read.
Short stories.
And my short stories. Most of the stuff you can read for free because, again, all these, like, a lot of these independent, independent magazines and publishers, they're all labors of love,
Of course.
And want the access. But a lot of people have, like, a lot of these independent publishers and these labors of love, like, have inspired me to write things. Like, I wrote this piece for Timeless Tales, which basically does stuff on folklore and fairy tales and mythology, and I didn't know anything about this kind of like old witch hag thing called Baba Yaga, and I wrote this whole story that I would never have written, and they published it. I had submitted for other topics that I didn't get in, but the one that I knew nothing about, and then I did research, and Baba Yaga has this really like interesting house that stands on chicken bones, and she lives in the middle of like the woods. But then the hipsters have come, and so she's like, how am I going to deal with these hipsters? And that's what the story's about. But that's not what. That's kind of like. But I knew nothing about her as a character. So the one thing that's so great about writing is just being inspired, as you know, like by something totally random.
Oh no, I agree, definitely. I'm trying to sneak away this weekend for sole purposes, well, other purposes, but also just to maybe, you change your environment, change your the elements around you, change the people around you in certain circumstances, and see where the mojo come from, so to speak. So, knock on wood, hopefully something like that will come of it. Now, before I give you your 60 seconds, as I did Mark, to talk about a little bit of the background musically, I just have to ask this because I saw, again, another similarity. You love the Ghostbusters. I love the Ghostbusters. Just saw the new one. Did you see the new one? Because I just want to get your take on that.
We really want to. I was just all women. And I actually even talked to my dad about that, who is is unfortunately a Donald Trump fan. And he was like, I think that's a really good idea, all women. And I was like, because it's different from the canon. I was like, wow, that's good.
He can be a bit of a shade.
He can be a bit of a chauvinist.
Well, I can tell you that I have seen it with my kids. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. That's all I'm going to tell you about that. But let me just focus on like the main thing, because I know you don't get on Facebook all the time. But if you did, you'd know that my other best friend in my head is Chris Hemsworth, aka Thor. So Thor's in this movie. He's not really Thor-like. He's totally geek-like. But I have to tell you that, he dances a little bit and there's muscles. And there I go, fantasizing again. So definitely, let's just forget about the Thor angle. But let's just say we'll give it a 7 out of 10. And you'll be interested. It's a good story. You know what I mean? I don't know that it measures up to the original, but it is good. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so on that caveat, obviously, of course, as Mark started to say, I know that you started playing guitar as a child. You had wrote the very first song, which is I Don't Know God, and I know that you're an attendee of Oberlin College. So what I'd like you to talk to me a little bit about is I know that you played as a child and now going forward as an adult. A, are you doing continuing education as it relates to playing? And then second of all, over time, do you two envision maybe growing the band, so to speak, or is it always going to be a duet?
I mean, okay, so let me think. So how am I going to start this? Well, okay, continuing ed, I take guitar classes, and I took a great music theory class with Steve Tarsis, but I don't, I don't remember any of the music theory, because this is my problem. Like, when Mark would get mad at me, these are the things, like, I don't remember some certain stuff, so I understand the maestro, but, because, he opened, Steve opened my mind to a lot of things, and that was a great continuing ed program. Slide guitar and the blues scales, and I mean, songs came out of that class that was just, I never had an idea for. But yeah, I want to be better with music theory, and I have to just start forcing myself to do it. The thing is with piano, that Mark plays piano, is that music theory kind of totally makes sense with piano. But with guitar, you're like, ow, just strum some chords and you can get away with it. It's kind of like I'm illiterate, and trying to find my way around the subways.
So is Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah.
You didn't know music theory.
Yeah, whatever. Okay, but so
whatever.
You know what it is? I think what happens is I have. It's so funny because I was straight A student stuff in high school and everything. I think I have a real dislike for structure. Because when I was a kid learning, guitar in northern New Jersey, kind of rural northern New Jersey, there weren't a lot of guitar teachers that wanted to teach children. And the one guitar teacher that my parents could find was a classical guitarist, and he wanted me to learn Django Reinhardt, and I just wanted to learn how to play a Yellow Submarine. So we had a problem, and so that I think that kind of, if somebody had said to me, well, you can write your own songs, because when you're trying to play other people's songs, you're like, this doesn't sound as good as the record, but when you're making your own songs, you're like, well, you give yourself more leniency to create and work it out, play. Like, you're more interested in playing. I mean, I'm just, I love to practice, but I don't really love to practice our own songs. I mean, yeah.
Or scales.
I don't really like scale theory. But, I mean, so that's, gotcha. I guess that. It's funny. We used to have a larger band, too.
We used to have 5 people.
Okay.
5 people
that's
in the
what
beginning.
I thought. Okay.
It was great, but people just, life changes and people just don't.
Come and go.
Come and go.
Of course.
Yeah, they come and go. Yeah.
And then what happens is that, we find that we've worked with someone for a year or two, then they leave, and then you have to train another person. And every time you do this, it sets you back. You can't play out. You can't do an album. And so now we're at the point where we're just going to write the songs. We're just going to play ourselves. And then we're actually going to hire people to then play on the actual album. And this album, our latest album, we're going to get this great drummer. Her name is Livia Rinaldi from the N-Men. I don't know if you ever heard of the N-Men, but they're a great band.
Yeah, they're amazing.
So she's playing with us now, and then we got to find.
They're another husband and wife team. Too.
Yeah, we have to find a bass player, and they're going to come into the studio and just lay it down.
We'll send you a link of their stuff tomorrow. They're really great.
Absolutely.
Great,
that would be
great
absolutely amazing. Thank you so much.
I know they're amazing. I mean,
they're on Facebook.
They're on Facebook too. I mean, yeah, it's just. I mean, you love the full sound of the band, but it just, people.
Not the problems.
I mean, the thing is,
not the egos.
I mean, the thing is, sometimes you have people in there
you get all these musicians who are they don't even know the song, and they already want to change it. They're like, I'm like, but you don't even know the chords. They basically don't want to learn the song, so they're trying ways of changing it so that we none of us know the song, and then we're all in the same boat.
There was this one guy, right? I'm not going to mention names. He wasn't on anything of any of our albums, right? We played with him for a couple of months, right?
Yeah.
And he was great when we auditioned him on our own. But then he came in to rehearsal. He's a guitarist, because we thought we wanted to have, a lead guitarist, second guitarist. And he's like, your songs have too many chords.
And he goes,
oh my gosh.
Because musicians don't like to play so many chords.
And let me tell you, the song that he was singing on had like maybe 3 or 4 chords. So, and then I realized he wasn't practicing because he had the same string broken on his guitar. Like
every time
he, like, you know, so that's the kind of stuff. Like, but I do love the band sound. I mean, you just have to find.
Our last band was great.
Yeah, our last band was great. Mark Nildes and Dawn. But again, Mark moved away to Nildes moved away to Louisiana.
Louisiana.
Sorry, phonetically challenged here.
And Dawn McGrath was a professional, and so we hired her, and then she moved to Massachusetts. So, and she's like a legendary New York drummer. She's played with everybody, and then right after she plays with us, she goes to Massachusetts. So now we lost her.
But it's a hard. I mean.
Aww.
So, no, it's just life. You know, life just happens, and it's fine. You know.
No, I totally know exactly.
Forever.
I do.
Yeah, we keep going. I'm just
life
happy
happens.
that we're still doing music because we just enjoy. I never
and
expected
so am
to do
I.
music. Yeah.
Oh my God! Because if you weren't doing music, I couldn't interview you, and then I would be crying, and I'd be like, "Oh my God, who am I going to interview in New York City? I don't know any musicians, and this is really sad." Yes. Okay. On to the next. Oh, let's hope you can get Michael Madsen to say that. Did we cover that? Oh yeah, about 12 times, right? Shout out Michael Madsen. Hi, Thor. Hi, Thor. Hi, Thor.
Oh my God,
Chris Hemsworth. My 9-year-old son the other day, he was like, "Mom, why don't you just marry him?" And I'm like, "Can't. Got a wife." Yeah, lucky.
What's he doing?
Moving right along. What's he doing these days? He's just like so amazing. He's like, oh my God. Okay, but enough about him. I want to take third. Which one? Both of them are married. Michael Madsen's been married to the same woman for 20 years now, and kudos to that because I think that's awesome. I really do. And Thor, I think he's been married like 5-6 years, and he's only like 36. You know what I mean? The guy's not older, whereas Michael is like close to 60 now. I think late 50s or whatever. But it's a whole nother story. I want to take 30 seconds because something just came across my wall. Huge. And the only reason I'm saying that is because you don't know them, but I do. But this is so sweet. And see, this is what I'm talking about. I need a little love in my life. My very dear friend, Oscar Ramos, who lives in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, his girlfriend, Liz, or Lisa, I can't talk. Apparently, he just gave her a promise ring with a promise that the other ring is coming. Aww. Right, that's like an awe moment. I'm so happy for you, Lisa and Oscar. I can't even stand it right now. And I said I'm going to say that on air, and I just did. I'm so jealous. Not really. I'm actually thrilled for them. They're a wonderful couple. Oscar's been single for a long time. That is amazing. And I'm thrilled. But enough about them because we're talking about you two. Okay, I need you to be quiet because now I'm going to talk about how really cool you are. Like, for instance, you have been on the top 10 of the top 300 for Indie Pop New York City Deli Magazine, and you were also number 20, of course, on Reverb Nation Indie Chart. You've had write-ups in various different magazines, to name a few, of course, Empire Magazine, Paste Magazine, and Good Times Magazine. You've played in all sorts of different areas of New York City, for instance, Lovecraft Bar, it's Left Field, right? Left Field, New York City, Pyramid Club. And, of course, I know you've done some work with St. Paul's Lutheran Church, which is absolutely awesome. So on top of all that, let's talk a moment, of course, about the three big things. And we've started talking, of course, about Fancy Hercules. Obviously, 99 Cent Dreams is your debut, which is 18 songs. My question for that is, that's a lot of songs, kids. Not going to lie about that. 18 songs is a whole lot on a 99 Cent Dream album. So I was just curious to see, not only how did it go, but how do you have the patience or the tenacity to put together creatively 18 songs and then release it and be like crossing fingers and thinking they're going to love every 18 songs that we put out? Because that's a lot.
Well, that was our first album. Yeah, that was our first album, so we had boundless energy and excitement over it.
And also, Vince Ferreira wrote 3 songs. Who moved to California, but he wrote 3 of the songs. So it was only really 15 stuff that we were writing, and then my godfather, Mark, wrote Lost Voices together. He's a poet. Yeah, my godfather, Mike Stillman. And
but what our thinking behind that was, and it's funny that you say this because our the guy who's going to do our radio what's it called? Promotion in the fall. He said the same thing. He said you really have a double album there. He's like, you have a lot of music, and our thinking was that we would basically throw everything out there, like this is what we can do, and try to get signed. And
those are all the songs we had at that time. Right. So we're like, actually, we only had 7. We had 17.
No, we had a lot of songs. I had my ballad songs.
No, but that's when Mark does his solo project.
Okay, that's my solo thing coming up in the future. But no, I mean the truth of the matter is that we were just like, here's 18 songs. There's got to be something in there that a label's gonna like.
Right. Of course. And it's a nice variety.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. But it's a lot of music.
But then again, I'm me. You know what I mean? But no, I think that's a good variety. Some people might be like, okay, that's a bit much, because it is tough. I mean, obviously, I like that, but somebody may not necessarily sit down and listen to all 18 in one thing. But that's good mentality in terms of musicians, because you want to be different and special and out of the ordinary, which you clearly are, obviously. What I thought was really cool,
thank you.
I saw that you did Funeral Genius, and that was actually on the Grammy ballot. Talk about that. That is way cool.
It was kind of crazy, but I mean there's several rounds to Grammy, so we didn't get on the one with only five slots. Yeah. But we were actually on one of the.
We were between Madonna
and Maroon 5.
I know, right? And can we talk about Adam Levine? Holla. Okay, sorry, there we go again. Back to you. Go ahead.
I think I see a pattern here.
I know, right? Wait till you meet me in person. It only gets worse. Okay? That's all I'm going to say. But go ahead. Yeah, so the Grammy ballot thing, because that's totally exciting. It is. Doesn't matter where you're located, where you're at. That's big.
Well, we were like totally shocked because we had no idea that you could be an indie band and get on the Grammy ballot. And then we found out that basically any indie band that's doing a commercial release and that they, I guess, approve or they consider it's good enough can get on the ballot. And there was actually, I think, several indie bands that actually won. This category of children's music seems to be like
the Hokey Dokey Boys.
The Okie Dokie
Boys.
Yeah. Okay. And so that's like a kind of path that a lot.
Phonetically, I'm not drinking.
But we were shocked. So we tried it.
Okay.
Yeah, we were shocked.
Yeah, we tried. No, we're gonna try it again with Fancy Hercules. I mean, the thing is it's hard when you're labeled as pop. Because, and I understand why we were labeled a pop, because we weren't really, considered, I don't think we'd really be considered Americana.
Straight folk or Americana.
Or straight folk or Americana.
What people say about our music is that it's very radio friendly and that it's got strong melody. And that tends to push towards pop. And not that we're pop music, but, in the sense of like George Michael or something like that.
Oh, great.
But in the sense that we have a broad appeal. And because we were always confused by that. We're always like, well, we're an indie rock band or an indie folk band, or some people even call us an anti-band or a punk band or whatever. And so we were weirded out by that pop label, but now we kind of understand it better. And even the Deli magazine is like, you're an indie pop, you're an indie guitar pop band. So I guess that's what we are.
I mean, but when you're in a category like that, you have some really heavy hitters, and you probably. I mean, you may not have as much of a
Well, you don't
it's amazing.
You don't have a shot because you're never.
You don't have a shot.
We don't have the reach that a lot of these bands have. I mean, when U2 gets on the Grammy ballot, he doesn't need to send his record to all the members in the Grammys to vote on, because they've most likely already listened to it. So it's a lot about getting your stuff heard by the other members, and I think there's like 10,000 members, or
I think they've streamlined it since we joined, became Grammy members.
But it's a huge campaign, just like the Oscars. You're trying to get as many people as possible to listen to your music and vote on it, and people are really good at promoting. But if you've got the advantage of being Madonna or Maroon 5 or U2, you're already out.
Or if you're in kind of a more specific,
smaller
category. Well, I mean,
Pop is like the largest category.
Pop is like the largest category. But it was amazing.
Well, yeah, it is.
I mean, but it was amazing beyond there. We met amazing people, just online. I mean, we'd love to we'll actually probably.
I think for us, the weirdest thing, besides getting the Deli thing, was that we were voted top 20 albums for 2012 ahead of David Byrne and St. Vincent and Sigur Rós and all these bands that are just ridiculously huge, and we just couldn't believe that. I mean,
on NBT. Well, because it's amazing that I'm always amazed that people hear us and they value us, like, I mean, above
but
people.
we see ourselves on these lists, and we're like Grizzly Bear and like all these people. Like, how do we get a
Vampire Weekend?
Yeah, Vampire Weekend. Like, why are we on
why
this
are we
list?
there? We're New York's best kept secret, as Joe Crespo, our friend.
Not anymore. Hey, not anymore. You were on this show. Let me just tell you, the last musician on this show got 3 gigs. Thank you very much. So you're not any nobodies, people. Come on now. All right. We only have 2 more things to do. A, because if I don't leave soon, I'm going to miss a boat. Just kidding. But no, seriously, I do have to go.
You can catch a boat.
But no. And second of all, I want to go through this list because that's the other thing. Not only have they done 8,000 interviews in their life, but they only have 8,000 ways to find their music. So I basically tried to grab as many as I could. So I just want you to listen. And let me just name off to all of you people all the different ways you can find them. They are on Facebook individually as themselves, which is Mark Purnell, and, of course, Andrea and her last name. I'm not even going to try to spell it. Just go to their Facebook page, which is Makar, M-A-K-A-R, Rocks. The website is spelled makarmusic.com. Their music itself can be found on Amazon, CD Baby, iTunes, SoundCloud, YouTube, Reverb Nation. They're also on MTV.com. I don't want to forget about Instagram, which is, again, Makar Music. They're also on Twitter, which is again, Makar Music. And, of course, check out all of Andrea's fine work on herself and all of her updates on that novel and the photography that I better see. And that's Andrea, A-N-D-R-E-A, and it's DEANGELIS.com. By the way, all of this, including the interview, once it's archived later tonight, will be reposted on my show page, hopefully on my personal page. But I am trying to get the hell out of Dodge tomorrow afternoon to go out of town, actually. So we'll just see how quick we get to that.
I'll be blasting it all over, too.
We're gonna
Thank you.
it.
And the last thing, I'm going to ask one more last thing, and then we're going to do what I always do. If you've ever heard any of my shows, you know that I get to spend the last 2 minutes telling you what I think of you. Then me, my wine, and my butt are out this door. And you're going to call your people who will call my people about the Madsen thing. Wink, wink, right? Wink, wink.
Yes.
Done.
Just kidding. Okay.
Done.
Here's my last question, because we don't want to forget to mention the most obvious, which is the most recent recording that you're working on, which is Fancy Hercules. I know that it was originally slated to be out in the fall or winter, so just kind of give us a status report on where you're at with that and when we might be able to expect it.
Well, yeah.
Spring,
summer, because,
okay.
It's just taking longer than we thought. But, I mean, we're working. Now we're putting a drummer on it. But, I mean, it's coming along really well.
We're almost halfway through.
We may have a strange one-off song out in a month or 2 that will probably not be on Fancy Hercules, and it's going to deal with zombies.
We wrote it for The Walking Dead.
I mean, we wrote it
Are
as
you
like
joking?
a debut.
Please tell me you're joking, because I don't watch that show.
They don't know about it, but we're going to send it to them, and...
Oh, that's so cool.
No, yeah. We don't want anybody else to steal the idea.
It's just because we love the show, and
yeah.
It's on the hush-hush.
Yeah, but it's a funny song.
It's coming out.
Which
oh my
we
God,
enjoy.
that is absolutely so cool. And I lied. There's actually one technical question, then I'll tell you what I think, and then you have to leave. I don't know if you saw this, because of course you're never on Facebook, and Mark's too busy posting a video. Just kidding, not really, because that's what he does. But I am going to be in New York City the 25th to the 28th. I have work that I have to do, and there's a wedding that I have to attend. So I know you're going to say, yes, Cindy, we have a gig, and you can go. Yes,
Cindy, we have a gig, and you can go.
No.
Yes, and that's located where?
We don't.
Damn it,
no, you're talking August? You're talking this month, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we don't have a gig set up because we're moving September 2nd, and also our anniversary is August 26th. We can hang out on after the 26th. Like we could hang out one of the days, get at least.
With Michael Mack.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Stop it now! Teasing. That's not fair to tease. Not fair to tease. No, that would be totally cool. And I only ask because, of course, then we could, of course, pump your gig, and more importantly, I could get to meet you in person. Because, of course, last time you had your little couch gig, nobody invited me. So that's all I'm going to say on that. Little couch gig. You did a little on the place on the couch, and nobody told me. It's okay. I understand. All right, we've reached that point in the show where I have to tell you what I think of you, and then I have to kick you out of my show so I can kick me out of my door. Because then I don't have to be responsible. And I can rest my mouth because I just had I just had these extractions done last week, and I got to tell you, I am uncomfortable. It's been like 5-6 days, and it's still really uncomfortable. So I think I'm going to have to suck it up tonight, and I think there's going to have to be like wine consumption on this boat cruise I'm going on. There's going to have to be like 2 hours of wine. Can't help myself. So
we're drinking too.
Yeah, so see, there you go. Right. Thank you very much. Okay, So now that you've lived through this interview, both of you, be quiet and let me tell you what I think of you. These are my impressions, and the reason that I do this at the end of every one of my shows is only because of the fact that most people don't ever get the benefit of actually getting to investigate you as much as I have, and they don't get to know you as well as I'd like to think I know you in researching you, and I really would be thrilled and elated if I get a chance to see you in New York City. But these are my impressions of the both of you. First and foremost, as I mentioned when I did my write-up, you are married to both yourself and your music. That's what I call a divine entity, so to speak, which is interceding. It's always so lovely when you get to see two people that have a love for themselves and a love for what they do, and they combine that together. That's what we call purpose and passion. First and foremost, that's one of the best things I like about you. Second of all, I knew before I even spoke to either one of you that you had a very cute comedic sense about both of you. You're entertaining, you're engaging, you're funny, you're charismatic. You balance against one another in such a way that makes you very entertaining. I don't know if you notice this or not, but you parallel one another in so many ways. I can tell across the phone that you love each other very much. That allows you, that component, to be able to create music and probably even write music or create a love story together. And that translates so very well, I would guess, in all of your gigs, in the music that you perform. I've only been blessed to be able to hear a few things. And in the few things that I've heard, I've not only been impressed, but I've felt inspired. I've felt motivated. I've actually worked listening to your music, believe it or not. And that's something that doesn't always happen because I'm a Dean Martin fan. Well, and Thor and Michael Madsen. Did I say that again? Never mind. But back to you. I think one of the nicest parts, as I told you before, is you have a gift and a talent that I will never possess. And I'm so lucky and so gracious, not only that you were patient enough to wait for me, but you came on, you shared a part of yourself, and I do hope that someday I'll get to be in a room and share those beautiful melodies that you make together. So I thank you so very much for your patience. I thank you so much for your presence today. I thank God for City Bird Publicity because I've had another wonderful evening with two wonderful people. And that's what I think of you all.
Oh my God. I'm just so humbled by what you said. Are you
okay? No, but it's true, and I don't bullshit. So I'm here to tell you, people do that at the end too. Some of them like cry, and I'm like, please don't cry.
No,
I don't want you to cry. But I'd be kind of mad if we don't like hook up. Like even if you don't have the maps and hook up, we could like still hook up. We're still hanging out. But we have to hang with wine. That's like my thing. Oh my God, I'm totally hanging out with Mark and Andrea. I'm dancing in here. But if you don't have like more novel stuff done by the time I get there next week, I might be a little pissed. Just saying. No pressure or anything.
No, I appreciate
what can I say?
Because everybody's been
kicking but you need that. Everybody needs a kick in the ass. Okay,
I know,
and on that caveat, get the hell off my show because I'm going to miss a boat if I don't get my assets out of here. Thank you. In all seriousness, thank you both. Thank you, guys. And stay in touch, and let's get together soon. And I mean that.
We mean that
I will message you, like when I get off this phone, show, etc. All right, guys. Have a great night. Thanks. Tell me that like wasn't the funnest interview ever known to man. And no, I wasn't kidding. I literally have to run to a boat. Do not want to forget to remind everybody tomorrow, New York City musician, another one. And not only is he by himself, meaning that he's not only single and he's very, very intelligent and very, very creative, but he's an absolutely wonderful person who does a great deal for charity. And he's also one of Bridget O'Brien's clients, which means that he is fabulous. Matt Colligan, Colligan, gracing my studios tomorrow at 1 o'clock Central Standard Time. Want to do one more swing around. To Melissa, City Bird Publicity, cannot thank you enough for the presence of both Mark and Andrea. Absolutely fabulous people, including yourself, Melissa. Thank you so much for the gift of them. Second of all, to my intern, Tori, this interview would not have been possible without your coordination. So thank you so much for all the work that you do. Do not want to forget to remind everybody, if you want to listen to Makar's music, they can be found on Amazon, CD Baby, iTunes, SoundCloud, off their website, which is, again, Makar, Makar music.com. They're on Facebook, which is Makar Rocks, and that's all one word. They're on YouTube, Reverb Nation, MTV.com. Their Twitter handle is at MAKAR Music. And, of course, if you want to check out Andrea's writing, it's Andrea and then DEANGELIS.com. And, of course, you heard them. They're free August 27th. Come hang out with both of us. Maybe they can sing. I can write. It'll be wonderful. 1 o'clock Central Standard Time tomorrow. I'll be back on air. Friday, I will be sure to mention, or actually tomorrow I will post up my show guest for Friday. Apparently it's going to be a surprise. So have a wonderful evening, folks. Watch the wall for further details. Thanks.
At Honda, we always look for ways to innovate. That's why we combined summer and celebration to create the Honda Summerbration sales event. You can combine 0.9% APR with the stylish Accord, a car and driver's 10 best. So hurry into your local Honda dealer for the Honda Summerbration sales event. It's amaze-tacular.
Visit your Metro Milwaukee Honda dealer today during the Honda Summerbration sales event.
Car and driver January 2017. APR financing offers available for well-qualified buyers. See dealer for financing details.